I'm Dennis Anderson along with Julie Zenner, and here's what's coming up on Almanac North.
After years of planning and a search for investors, a long-promised waterfront hotel is under construction near Duluth's Bayfront Park. We'll have the latest on the Pier B project tonight.
Well, after more than 2 decades of providing a voice to the public on big lake management issues, funding for the Lake Superior Binational Forum has dried up.
And we'll have the latest business headlines and find out what was making news 25 years ago this week.
You've turned to the right station. Almanac North is next. Hello and welcome to Almanac North. Thank you very much for watching tonight. Well, the calendar may say spring, Julie, but the temperatures don't quite feel like it.
I don't know. As long as there's no snow, it feels like spring to me. So.
It's nice out there, isn't it? Oh boy. Well, we've got a lot to talk about, Julie.
All right. Thank you, Denny, and welcome everyone. For several years, developers have been working on a plan that would bring a hotel and other amenities to a former industrial pier in the Duluth Harbor. The site next to Bayfront Festival Park was home to the former Lafarge cement dock, and the concrete silos at the site are still its most prominent feature. But soon a 140-room resort hotel will rise adjacent to the silos, providing access to the harbor and extending Duluth's famed lake walk. Well, joining us now is Sandy Hoff of F.I. Salter Real Estate, one of the partners in the Pier B project. And Alex Guiliani is also a Pier B partner and developer of the Clyde Ironworks project. And thanks to both of you for coming in. We really appreciate it. Lots of exciting things happening down there.
Well, you're very welcome, and thanks for the opportunity to share a fun project.
Yeah, Sandy, after all of these years of planning and talking about this, it has to be really exciting for you to kind of see things starting to move down there.
It's tremendously exciting. You know, it's been a long process getting the plans in place, the investors in place, finalizing our financing, and we're finally off and running.
What's happening right now?
Well, right now we finished tearing down the bag house, which is attached to the silos. That demolition is in the process of being completed, and they're driving the pilings at the location where the hotel will be located.
So tell us about the project a little bit, guys. Alex, what's going to be included? You've got a hotel here. What other amenities might be included?
Sure. It's going to be a resort hotel, and you know, when you think of resorts, you think of amenities that would go along with it, and we have a beautiful lakeside here, but we're not really able to touch the lake or actually use it. The resort hotel at Pier B will allow us for that to happen. We'll have a boardwalk that will be all the way through the whole pier, and at the end there'll be a boat ramp that will allow for kayaking, paddle boards, canoeing. We'll have our own transient marina, so it'll give you that true resort feel. We'll have a lakeside restaurant, actually right on the water, within 25 feet, and an event center.
You mentioned transient
Marina.
Marina.
Yep.
Yeah.
What is a transient marina?
Well, what we've been told by the boaters in the region is that we need a place for those who either live near the lake or have cabins or houses on the waterfront to be able to boat and have a place to stop, stay overnight, eat at our restaurant. If you're coming from Bayfield or Thunder Bay, there's really no place on the Duluth side of the harbor to stop and do that. So you'll be able to boat into our site, stay overnight. We'll have water hookups, electric hookups, and you can stay in the hotel and spend time on the waterfront in Canal Park at the retail shops. It's an amenity we've needed for a long time.
And how many slips will there be there? How many boats can it accommodate at one time, or do you visualize?
At this time we have roughly 24, and we also have the availability to do parallel parking for some of the larger boats that might come in and to use the harbor. And we know that when we open up in 2016, the tall ships will be in town, and hopefully we might have one or two of them docked up at our place.
So if you have a yacht, come on in.
It sounds like pile driving is being done. I could hear the pile driving the other day, and to me, that's a sound of progress.
It's a sound of
Tell us about
progress.
what's happening right now.
Yeah, to me, it's a sound of money and progress. Yeah. Well, that's what's happening, is they're establishing the piles in the ground so we can build the foundation on top. And from there, they'll keep building up. Simultaneously, we've got lots of site work to do. In slip 2, which is the water slip next to Bayfront, we have to stabilize all of the shoreline. Going up that side, we're constructing a new connectivity bridge over to Bayfront Festival Park. And we're working closely with the City of Duluth and DETA to also extend the Baywalk Trail across the waterfront. So lots of projects happening all at once.
Now, building this close to the waterfront and as precious as Lake Superior and the harbor are there some environmental challenges that you are facing that you wouldn't if you were building somewhere else?
You know, we're going to be good stewards, and we know that it's it's a resource that you can't replace, and we have a great team that has put together the plan to take us from where we're at today to getting an ending letter from the MPCA saying no future actions needed. And there is, the slip has contamination in it, as the whole harbor does, and I think we have a really good plan to take care of that, along with some upland contamination, but there's not a lot. And we've been very resourceful on how we're attacking it, where we're not disturbing the soils and keeping it in place and doing the right capping, that, let's say that, for that to happen.
Now, you had some experience with industrial sites before with the Clyde project, so were there lessons learned through that are helping you as you approach some of those environmental challenges on this one?
Actually, fantastic. I'm glad you asked that. Yes, there was. That was a very huge contaminated site, and we learned a lot. We worked hand in hand with the MPC, and then the deed office from the state has been a great help to both projects, and we certainly learned. I think Duluth has a really good track record of taking on projects like this. The city has a good relationship, and again, we want to be good stewards of our land.
A number of local investors, including the two of you, have stepped forward for Pier B. Is there a renewed vision, do you think, in the city of Duluth? People are excited about this.
I think the community is really excited about all the neat projects we have going on. Maurice's, the new parking structure, some of the housing projects that are planned. And really what we're doing is adding more quality of lifestyle amenities. The boating, the kayaking, canoeing, the connectivity to the trail system. It's all enhancing the efforts that have been going on for years. And so we're excited to be part of that.
You couldn't have a better location for a hotel.
Could you say that again?
I would suspect you might have a full night every night.
We're certainly hoping for, we think with 2,000 feet of shoreline right there next to the freeway.
Unreal.
And we're really pleased and proud to be able to capitalize on the success of the visionaries of Canal Park. If it wasn't for some of those families and those risk takers, we wouldn't have the ability to do what we're able to do now. So we want to expand the attraction value of the waterfront in Duluth, not continue to compete for the same customers.
I think a lot of people were interested a short while ago when the list of the investors, the investment group, came out, because it really does read like a who's who of Duluth. And local folks, were you really looking for that in addition to just trying to find money and finances? Were you looking for people who had a particular value system or a connection to the community?
We were, and as you saw, the group that we do have are all successful people that have raised their families here. They want to raise their grandkids here. The community's been good to them, and I think this is a way for them to keep enhancing what what they love, and that's our city.
Sure.
And we have a really nice group. It's been fun to work with them, and they have great ideas, and it's kind of humbling to see that group and to see what we're able to do together.
I would guess a number of people are asking about the big silo, the concrete silos that stand there. Are you going to be using those right away, or are you going to just keep them there and perhaps in the future? What's
Sure.
happening here?
Initially the plan was to build in the silos. And structurally they're sound, but it became prudent to build outside initially because of the uncertainty of costs and what we might run into. So for now, we're going to clean them up, we're going to light them, and they will be the iconic image for the Pier B project.
Another idea that was discussed early on in the project was the possibility of bringing the Viking ship over there, but that is no longer part of the plan at this point, I understand?
It isn't, and we were approached at one time to see if there was interest, and we said, come talk with us. We'd love to help you if that's needed. We're very forthright, and so we think it should be in Leif Erikson Park. But if there's some reason that it can't be there, and if you see that it'd be better suited at our site, we would certainly try to incorporate that. And we have it down there right now in storage while they're getting ready to move it back to Leif Erikson Park where it belongs. But we're just we're there to help if needed.
Now, of course, recreational development is inching closer and closer to the industrial part of the waterfront with this project.
Sure.
Any potential conflicts there, because it's not always compatible to have tourists and a working waterfront?
No, we see it as one of the great attractions, frankly. We are a working waterfront. We want to celebrate the working waterfront. In fact, we've been in contact with the North American salt folks who are right next to us. And we said, when your ship comes in to unload the salt, we want you to sponsor margarita night in the bar. And so still in the planning phase, but we think we can really enhance people's knowledge of what's happening in the harbor and celebrate our industrial heritage and not only the past but going forward.
Can you fill us in on the target date for completion of this project and the economic impact this is going to have on the city?
Sure. Well, the construction is roughly $29 million, and we just started. Is taking down some of the buildings that needed to come down for it to go forward and stabilizing the pier and then the soils. It's roughly a 14-month construction period that we've been told. We hope to be open May 1st, 16, just in time for our busy summer season that we have.
Before you know it.
And it will be.
hoping.
And it's just amazing, just in the week that we started the pilings, how many have gone up, and it's really fun to watch and to listen, like you mentioned. It's music to my ears.
And there's some public funding in this also with the city of Duluth and with the with DEED for the state. You've got a couple of grants on the environmental side of things. Public risk?
In terms of?
Just in terms of the investment.
Well, there's investment risk, all around here, but we think we've structured it to create success. And the City of Duluth, the Duluth Department of Economic Development have been wonderful partners in this project. They really have been great to work with. Working with DEED and the 2 grants that they gave us have been significant to helping us pull the whole package together. I don't think there's risk in terms of the project not going forward or anything like that. No, we think we've got everything well captioned to create success.
What did you see in Duluth to want to spend this kind of money and to invest in the city as you gentlemen are investing? What did you see here?
I guess there's this, it's just expanding this growth that's out there. There's excitement. I think when things start progressing, more happens. It's
contagious.
It's contagious. And this is a project that's taken roughly 4+ years, and over those last 4 years, there's been great things that have been happening, and I think the next 4 years are going to be even more amazing. It's a fun time to be here.
Sandy, what about you?
Well, as I said earlier, we've got a growing hospitality and recreation industry here. And you've seen what's happened with the new mountain biking trails and COGS, and the excitement for the outdoor environment that we have here and the quality lifestyle seems to be growing by leaps and bounds. And I think we're just part of that by now providing access for kayaking, canoeing, paddleboarding, and all sorts of other waterfront activities. There's a lot going on. And so I think we are just riding the tidal wave of excitement that's happening in our community right now.
Almost a renaissance happening here, huh?
There really is. And we're thrilled to be part of it.
Well, we thank you for being part of it. Thank you for your investment, and thanks for coming in and talking about it. It's
Thanks
exciting.
for the opportunity.
Thanks,
You're welcome.
gentlemen.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Now, let's dig into our news file archive for a look at what was making news 25 years ago this week.
Under sunshine and clear skies, the Edwin H. Gott left her winter home. Put in motion by over 19,000 horsepower twin diesel engines, the ore boat inched away into the partially frozen harbor, its crew and others confident and bubbling with enthusiasm.
How's she feel? Sounds good. The engines are overhauled and ready to go.
For most people, this hillside view was as close as they got to the mighty ship. Others enjoyed a breathtaking close-up look.
Fantastic to see it go. Look at the ice.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
After a brief struggle with the harbor ice, the yacht passed under the aerial lift bridge, and together they capped the shipping season opener with the familiar clarion exchanges of a sound that from this point on will be filling the harbor air.
Well, for more than 20 years, the Lake Superior Binational Forum has been providing a voice to the public on issues revolving around the Big Lake. But as of next month, funding provided by the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative and the U.S. EPA is ending. The Binational Forum, founded back in 1991, has provided outreach and a diverse stakeholder group for the world's largest freshwater lake. Now, as funding expires in early April, the forum has been looking for ways to continue its work. Joining us now is Bruce Lindgren. Bruce is a former co-chair and current U.S. member of the Binational Forum. Bruce, thanks for being here. What is the Binational Forum, Bruce?
Well, the Binational Forum, as you kind of alluded, is a citizen stakeholder group. We're, by charter, we have 24 members, 12 from the United States, 12 from Canada. And our charge is to engage the public, obtain input, process that through discussion and debate, and then make recommendations to governments that have jurisdiction over the ecosystem of Lake Superior. Those governments, of course, include the federal governments, Canadian and U.S. federal governments, but also the state governments, the Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, of course, and then the province of Ontario.
So will lack of federal funding shut you down?
Oh, yes. Yeah, the major use of the federal funding has been to support the coordination of the forum. Years back, before funding was cut off by the Canadian government, we had a coordinator, part-time coordinator in Canada, operated out of Thunder Bay, and then we've had a full-time coordinator in the United States who is attached to Northland College over in Ashland.
Now, did the EPA and the Great Lakes Restoration Initiative give you any reasons or indication that the funding was going to be cut off ahead of time?
Oh, yes. Yeah, there have been things happening really over the last decade that have, if you could read the tea leaves, there would have been indicators. But more recently, the EPA Region 5 in Chicago, and I think nationally, have said they have this large amount of money for Great Lakes restoration. And given I'm guessing about this, but their sense of a movement in a more conservative direction, that they wanted to make the best use of that funding that they could. They have been funded at about $275 billion a year to clean up these areas of concern around the Great Lakes, and that's clearly been their priority. I've heard EPA officials say, we don't need more public input now. We know what needs to be done. And that's probably somewhat true with regard to those areas of concern. These are the legacy sites.
So, Bruce, what has the money been used for? That you've been receiving those federal monies for 24 years, I believe.
Right. Yeah. The big thing is the coordination. Hiring professional staff to make all this work. The 24 members are all volunteers. And volunteer organizations really are strongest when there is paid staff to provide support. And we've been very blessed with excellent coordinators, both in the United States and in Canada.
So what was the product that you turned out? What did you do to, as an organization, to support the lake?
Well, first of all, we engaged the public. We had 4 meetings a year. When we were funded in Canada, we had two in Canada and then 2 in the United States. Those input sessions were focused on topics of concern, things like invasive species. Mining, more recently, has been a big issue, and so we would travel to those sites, engage the public. We had, I think, one of the smaller meetings we probably had about 45 people turn out in a very small town area up near Marathon in Ontario. When we started dealing with the mining issue, we had meetings in Marquette, Ashland, and Hibbing. And I don't think any of those meetings had less than 150, some of them 200, over 200 people.
So once you engage the public, what happened to that information gleaned from those meetings?
Okay, well, what we do is the forum members would discuss that at meetings. We'd weigh the pros and cons. And one of the strengths of the forum, one of the things that was really unique about the forum was, first of all, we were an organization that represented the entire Lake Superior Basin, but we also had members from a number of different sectors. The industry, environmental organizations, faith-based organizations, Native American and First Nation people were all present. And so we had really a good mix of input and analysis, and that then led to recommendations. And so the recommendations usually take the form of letters to
the EPA?
Federal, EPA, EPA was always important, Environment Canada, which is the EPA equivalent in Canada, state governments, municipal governments. The most recent product was a recommendation on responsible mining that was produced fairly formal way, and then I think every member of Congress got it, members of state legislators, the governors, all received it.
So what happens now, Bruce? You've lost the federal funding, and you said that really kind of guts the program. Are you looking for other funding sources? Are you trying to get maybe some grassroots funding bubbling up, or is this the end for the Binational Forum?
I don't think it's the end. There was an interesting exchange that happened in Canada when Canadian funding was cut off. The first Canadian co-chair, a man by the name of Bruce Heyer, who is now a member of Parliament, met with a few of us, and we were, what are we going to do and all this stuff. And he made the statement that, well, if the forum goes away, someone will have to reinvent it. And he was really trying to convey the importance of public input to government policy. And so I think that's what's going to happen now. There will be a reinvention. It will most likely take the form of a nonprofit organization. There'll be a board of directors. There'll be an effort to raise sufficient funds to replace paid staff, and then the forum will, re-engage the public in appropriate ways, and re-engage the governments in a new way also. So there'll be changes, and I think what we have to do is anticipate that over months, perhaps even some years, there will be an evolution of this reinvented public input to support government policy.
All right, Bruce Lindgren, thank you very much from the Binational Forum. All the best.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, it's time now for the week's business stories from Business North. Some downtown Duluth retailers are concerned about the city's plan to reconstruct Superior Street and how it will affect parking. At a meeting Tuesday, the issue of establishing bicycle lanes drew concern from several business owners. They say adding bike lanes would take away from on-street parking spaces. Jack Seiler of Security Jewelers says shoppers come by car, not by bike. And Rick Heimbach of Bagley & Company said Superior Street planners are trying to come up with a design that's aesthetically pleasing rather than one that's geared toward business. A final plan will advance to city councilors in June.
Well, the John G. Munson on Monday became the first Laker to depart Duluth Superior for the 2015 maritime shipping season. The Munson was carrying 24,000 tons of taconite pellets loaded at the Canadian National Dock in Duluth. It sailed under the aerial lift bridge shortly before 5:30 p.m., destined for Gary, Indiana. The 768-foot Munson had spent the winter at Fraser Shipyards in Superior. Duluth Seaway Port Authority Executive Director Vanta Kota predicted a banner year for project cargo, but he said the world market has created uncertainty about bulk commodities, including iron ore.
Northland College in Ashland has named two respected educators to co-direct a new center devoted to freshwater issues. Peter Annan, journalist and author of The Great Lakes Water Wars, and Dr. Randy Lair, director of the Ecological Solutions Initiative at Northland College, will lead the center. The college has received a $10 million endowment to create the Mary Griggs Burke Center for Freshwater Innovation. Work at the center will evolve over time in response to emerging issues. For more on these and other stories, visit businessnorth.com.
Well, our time this week is nearly up, so call now if you have a comment. Dial 218-788-2849 to leave a message, or send us an email to almanacnorth@wdsc.org. You can also visit the WDSC website for news and information about the station, our broadcast schedule, and updates on your favorite programs. Julie, it might be a good weekend to get the garage straightened out, maybe a little spring cleaning around the outside.
I don't know if it's nice. I don't think either of those things are going to be on my schedule.
I'm not trying to put you at work. Okay. Well, for Julie and the crew at Almanac North, I'm Dennis Anderson. Have a great weekend. Good night, everybody, and be kind.